Good evening. We start here tonight. As South Africa observes Youth Month this June, industry leaders in the agricultural sector gathered in Soweto at the Mzansi Young Farmers Indaba to find ways to attract the youth into the sector. The Industrial Development Corporation says it's keeping ahead of economic storms that could discourage young people from entering the agricultural sector or hamper competitive growth for those already in the sector. Ntokozo Khumalo was at the Indaba in Soweto and spoke to the IDC about attracting young people into farming.
Well, farmers, like many others in various other sectors of the economy, carry the weight of the rising cost of doing business and keeping their operations sustainable, and that, of course, is where access to finance comes in. And for a little bit more insight on the IDC's financing models, I am now joined by Hamper, who is the head of agro-processing and agriculture. Thank you for your time. As a starting point, just give us some insights into some of those financing models by the IDC to keep the agricultural sector competitive.
Thanks, Ntokozo. So we do have the blended finance, which is a combination of funds that are coming from the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, which we blend with the senior debt from the IDC, thereby giving a startup farmer or call it an emerging farmer a chance, because most of them do not have the balance sheet to can be able to take this debt without any assistance. So that's what we're doing, and we started this program in March 2021. To this end, we've already committed over 400 million, and I'm glad that there is additional 400 million that has just been forwarded to us. And I'm excited today with all these farmers, young farmers here. Hopefully we can be able to, most of them can also benefit.
And that's, of course, good news, hearing that there's a little bit more money in the purse for young farmers. But accessing funding is not an easy road to take. What role is the IDC playing in ensuring that young emerging farmers are investor or funding ready?
We do have non-financial support. This is business support, because you may have a farmer or an entrepreneur in general that they have technical qualification, but they do not necessarily have the marketing, they do not have financial skills. So when we assessing the applications, we take those into consideration, and where gaps are identified, we then make sure that post-funding, those gaps can be somewhat closed.
And Khampi, there's a lot of headwinds that are facing the agricultural sector that it continues to be resilient against. Does the IDC, as you said, that you do have other sorts of supports aside from financial, but how is the IDC then supporting farmers to really be able to deal with those headwinds that has the potential of eating into their profitability?
Yeah, one of those which is not only affecting farmers but South Africans in general, it's the issue of power security. So IDC has just launched a scheme of just over 1.5 billion, which will then help farmers and other entrepreneurs to be able to have an alternative source of energy. So what it does is the entrepreneurs have an option of, if their business can be able to take on the funding directly, where maybe they want to buy that solution and own it, they can do that. But in the case where they cannot afford, then there are electricity supply companies or services companies that will then access those funds from IDC, own the asset, but then sell the service to the client. Instead of them owning it, they can just be paying for the consumption that they're using per month.
Khampi, thank you so much for talking to us. Of course, that's Khampi Bapela, who is the head of agro-processing and agriculture at the Industrial Development Corporation, talking us through some of the financing models that they do have available from new emerging farmers looking to enter and scale in the sector. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Ntokozo Khumalo in Soweto, Johannesburg.